Okay, here's what it is. Brave New Frontier is an idea. It's been like 5 years or so, 4 years since the pandemic. And I've been working, I think like you too, fully remote. The world has changed. Attitude towards remote work has changed. Online tools have dramatically changed. The ability for us to now create more freedom for ourselves almost means it's like not a completely new world, but it's certainly a brave new frontier because there's just new stuff to now think about and figure out. And so, you're somebody who's impressed me because of just the work that you're doing, and it's very fun and very cool. I like how you're keeping your soul and not like losing it to the grind, right?
I'm trying. Yeah.
Well, that's the dream. So this is what this show is all about. Sit down to talk with people about stuff that they're up to. You have a big focus on, there's gaming and there's music, it's guitar in your background, but there's also social media. You've mentioned that's something that you do. You spend a lot of time in photography as well. So we've got a couple of questions that we're going to run through, but first, you're now full-time, like you left your job and you're now full-time working on Saint Sprites, which is a sticker company, which is like, that feels like the ultimate 2025 kind of gig, because the idea to my noob mind, 5-7 years ago, making a living as an individual on sort of just doing stickers. Now, okay, it's not actually stickers. That's the product. You're actually building a brand, and from what I can tell on the outside, you're doing it right, and people are loving the connection with you. If you would, walk me through, what are you doing with Saint Sprites such that you can now go full-time, or, a lot of time on it, a lot more than you were?
Yeah. No, thanks, Dominic. This is all really new to me. As I mentioned, I left my office job back in July, but basically during that, like a year prior to that, I had started Saint Sprites, or launched the store, had a few stickers out, and I was basically just posting on Instagram, like, hey, look at these stickers, or are you a Catholic gamer? It seemed like that wasn't a market that had been touched yet, and I really enjoyed gaming, really loved Blessed Carlos, so decided, why not? Yeah, it's interesting. It definitely, like, moving into this quote unquote full time doing creative stuff was quite a transition after having been in an office job for a few years. I didn't graduate that long ago, like 2020, but yeah, it's interesting because you're sort of in this ambiguous cloud of what do I do now? I made this decision to just dive deep into creative work, and now I'm here, and this is like everything I could have ever dreamed of when I was in college or even like 3 years ago. And now I'm here and I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So much of it is just like taking one step at a time, and a lot of trial and error, trying to figure out what works. Interestingly, Saint Sprites has been doing relatively well. I'll be transparent about numbers. I started it in 2023, and like while I was working, I obviously didn't have as much time to dedicate to it, maybe like a couple of hours in the evening. But even then, I was able to get revenue up to maybe like 600 a month or so, which for me is about like a quarter of my revenue.
Those are phenomenal numbers for self-starters. And I mean, I forgot to actually mention the kind of people this show is trying to reach are self-starters. Kind of people just like you, just like me, who are like, I want to do something, so I'm going to go do it. What's the easiest way I can get into it? So making 600 a month, like you said, was it a quarter, I think you said, or a third of your needed income?
A quarter. Yeah, a quarter
That's
of my
amazing.
income. Yeah, it is. Like I really didn't think that, like even a year ago, that it would get to this point of like, wow, this could actually work and I can scale it. And so that's what I'm working on now, is learning to scale the business, because like I feel like I have a really strong brand, and I've had people tell me that this is a really strong brand. So, and that part of that, I mean, creating a strong brand is like so much of the work. You have to make a product that people actually like. And so thankfully I feel like I've got that down. And so now it's like, okay, how do I take this brand and get it in front of people's faces?
Yeah.
So a lot of the beginning stages of that were just boosting reels on Instagram, and essentially
And
creating.
that's like paid ads, basically.
Yes, paid
Smart.
ads,
Okay.
pretty much.
Okay.
How
How much, can I ask, how much did you put towards that? Was it like $5, $10 just to get things going, or did you throw a lot of money at it?
Yeah, I would play it safe. I'd usually do like 35 to 50 over the course of a week. And I do that at least once or twice a month. Just to get people to go to the website, the Etsy shop. And I can talk about this later, but another thing I'm doing is trying to move away from Etsy, or I'll still have Etsy, but I'm trying to drive traffic over to a Shopify store. That's part of one piece of the scaling strategy. But yeah, so I would just boost stuff on Instagram. Typically, like I would just make an ad where I'm showcasing the products, talking about the brand, talking about the mission, and then I'd put that out and then just boost it on Instagram. And that would generate a lot of following, a lot of people visiting the Instagram. And occasionally like a small boost in sales, but a lot of it is just like really long term of trying to build that following, generate that awareness, and then later on people eventually will make a purchase.
Nice.
So yeah, now I'm kind of working towards learning what content is actually the most effective. So it's a lot of generating different kinds of content. Like I'm experimenting with memes or engagement questions. I've been doing a lot of animation reels, product photography posts. I'm looking into maybe showing my face a little bit more. We'll see if that
It's actually
works
been
out.
genuinely cool to see that. Like I've seen you mostly on LinkedIn, not as much on Instagram.
Yeah.
But it's just funny how, like you talk about a strong brand, how instantly humanizing by straight up showing yourself is so cool, especially in your situation where you're the one actually creating and then providing and shipping out the product. And like you're manually, I think, still
Right.
doing everything by hand, right? So it's very personal.
Yeah. So that's something that I've been thinking about doing, and I'm glad that you mentioned the LinkedIn stuff, because that's a recent thing I started doing, was posting on LinkedIn. And I know you've been on LinkedIn for quite a bit.
Very badly.
No, I mean, I like your stuff. That's how we got connected, was through LinkedIn.
That
I
is
think
true. It is. And then we
think it
partnered
was
up over Legend Haven last year.
Yeah, that was how it all started. Was I think we both follow Marcellino, who runs Sherwood Fellows, and I think he just liked your post or something. And you were trying to like find other creatives who were creating businesses, and then I just
That's
reached
right.
out, and then we
Wow,
started.
that long ago
talking
already.
about
That was
Legend
6 months ago or something. That's cool.
Yeah. So I'd say you're doing a great job, because
Well, it works.
we
Yeah,
got
that's right,
connected to that. But yeah, that's like a recent thing that I started doing, was actively posting on LinkedIn, because it's like I'm not directly like I'm not acting as Saint Sprites on LinkedIn. I'm acting as myself,
Yeah.
but getting to share what I've learned through being a business owner, and even other aspects of my life, my spiritual life, my creative life, has allowed me to make a lot of connections with people who are of similar mindset. So I feel like that's a whole other aspect of business, is like, yeah, I'm promoting my products, my brand on Instagram as Saint Sprites, but then I'm also promoting myself as a creator on LinkedIn, building those connections who can help me with whatever I'm doing. So there's a lot of things that I'm like wanting to do and stuff. And as I said, I'm kind of in this sort of ambiguous cloud of there's so many things I could do, so many avenues I can make. And I think I'm at a point now where I'm like, this is just fun. Like this is, it's a lot of stuff,
great.
but I'm excited. If you asked me like 6 months ago, I'd be like, I'm really overwhelmed and I don't want to do this anymore. But Like
Wow.
it's
I have so many
yeah.
questions. This list
Yeah,
is growing
yeah.
on this
Sorry,
page.
I'm
So
just
I'm
like
going to,
going off,
no, you're
but
good. I'm going to start pumping you here with questions. First of all,
yeah.
okay, that's a really good little thing you said right there. 6 months ago, it would have all felt overwhelming and crazy and whatever. What has changed, or what are you doing differently now such that now it feels like fun, and then no longer, yeah, crazy and chaotic and overwhelming?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
Is it a
Well,
mindset or a habit?
I think there's a couple of things. Like, one is even I have a clearer roadmap, I think. And I have now this confidence that I can do this. Like this I know that I can scale this and turn it into yeah, my full-time income. It's not currently, but I know that
Hmm.
it can be.
Right.
I've had a really wonderful opportunity of actually getting to work with Sherwood Fellows over the last like month and a half or so, and
Oh, really?
yeah, Marcelino has been really helpful, and we've only had like 3 meetings or something, but they've just given me a lot of concrete advice on where I'm at and what concrete steps I need to do in terms of strategy for Saint Sprites.
Hmm.
And so I think just like having that confidence of this is a possibility, this is something I can do, and I know what tools I need to utilize to get to where I want to be. That's made it way less overwhelming. Like, even though there's still so many things that I can do, it's like I understand each thing's purpose. Rather than like 6 months ago, I'd be like, okay, well, I know that I need to make social media content. I
Hmm.
know that I need to make a Shopify store. I know I need to make an email list, a newsletter. I should post on LinkedIn. I should reach out to influencers. And I knew there were all these things I needed to do, but I didn't know why I needed to do them.
Interesting.
Like,
Okay.
I feel like when you get a lot of social media advice or marketing advice you see on the internet is like, yeah, you need to post every day. You need to do this. And it's like, okay, I'm going to do that, but I'm just like throwing things at a wall and hoping that it sticks. And I'm not really sure why I'm doing that. Everyone's just telling me that I need to.
Okay, so I got to ask, what did they say that changed? Because sometimes someone can just give you like one line and it just completely changes your life, changes your whole outlook. Did they give you something like that?
Yeah, a couple of things. I mean, I think the biggest thing was they just had a big belief in the brand itself. And they're like, this is untouched. Like, this is an untouched market. You can do a lot of stuff with this. And they looked at what I was already doing on social media and what was going well. And they were like, this piece of content, you should keep making this because it's doing really well. And yeah, like just a lot of like first a lot of encouragement for for what I was doing. And then yeah, a couple other specifics of like I knew that I had content that was doing well, but I didn't know how to like keep using it. And so they were essentially what we did was we did a test run. So I picked my top 3 Instagram posts and just boosted each of those $35 for a week. And
Hmm.
then we let that run for a week. And then we took the numbers and saw, okay, how much am I spending per follow or profile visit? And whichever piece of content had the lowest cost is like, okay, now let's take that and make 3 different alternatives of that piece of content and do the same thing and see what sticks. And so it was like very clear
Hmm.
directions on what I should do with the work that I've already created and
Hmm.
how I can build off of that in the future. Rather than, yeah, just keep posting things,
Yeah.
you know.
Hmm.
So it was like really concrete, and that's just been really helpful because I'm like, okay, I know what I'm supposed to do and I know why I'm supposed to do it.
Hmm.
And I feel like the why aspect is really important.
Hmm.
Because it's like, yeah, with that, you want to take the content that's doing really well and figure out what it is about it that's doing really well and keep
Hmm.
doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. That's okay. Fantastic. So I've recently heard a definition of burnout that's made a lot of sense to me, which is when you feel burnout when you put a lot of input into something and the output is very small. But when the amount of input that you put in matches the output that you get, then it doesn't feel like burnout. It feels exciting and epic and amazing. So
Yeah.
I want to ask you about, you said building a strong brand, and just, like when I check out your profile or I see the amount of engagement that you're getting, people not only love the product because it's a great product, but they also really like you and they like following your opinions, your voice, and stuff like that. So how would you define a strong brand? You've said that a couple of times. How would you define that?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. I'm trying to think of like what are brands that have really struck me or moved me. I think brands that I'm immediately drawn to, just like brands that are trying to shift culture.
Yeah.
Brands that are really bold and unique that, yeah, aren't being made now. Brands that speak to who I am. Like, I mean, Sherwood Fellows is a great example of like, I see a lot of myself in them of these are people who want to go against the norm, who are really bold in being Catholic, who are really creative. Let's see, other brands like Tiny Saints is doing really well. They're a really great brand. They're really consistent and they really speak to the heart of who we all are as children of God. This playfulness in their brand. I think, yeah, brands that are really consistent. Like you can clearly see a personality in these brands, and a story that speaks to you. I don't want to say like I'm really drawn to brands that are just like really different, like just catch your attention. Yeah.
Well, Saint Sprites does that. I mean, it's not only unique, and it's a unique take on the product, but you yourself are also that kind of way, and you create clear. How do I say? It's like you create a clear expectation, and people follow you, and you keep delivering on that. So I think that is definitely what makes it a strong brand. So you said something interesting about experimenting, and then ads and stuff like that. Well, let's go with that question. With experimenting, you said that you like testing or trying different things, see what works. What are some things, for example, that definitely work for Saint Sprites, and some things that you're already realizing, yeah, these are never going to work for this brand. Might work for another brand. Like you mentioned, doing some work on LinkedIn. There might be some things you would do there that you would never do with a Saint Sprites brand, right? So I think that the tone or the personality of the brand is also going to point to the kind of stuff that you should do, the kind of experiments you should run, I'm guessing. What do you think?
Yeah. So I've done quite a lot of different types of content. What has been the most successful, the most engaging is the animations. So every Sunday I like to do a gospel animation, just this pixel art animation of the Sunday gospel, or any significant feast day or solemnity. I think my most popular one so far is this animation I did for the Feast of the Chair of Saint Peter, where Jesus gives Peter the keys to heaven, and says, "And upon this rock I will build my church." And it's kind of this cute little animation. It's almost like a leveling up moment for Peter, where he's
great.
like, "I got the keys to heaven," and he's like leveled up and became the Catholic, or the first pope of the Catholic Church. So that one did really well, and yeah, I don't know, like they take a long time to make though. So that's why I only do them once
Is this
a
like
week.
with Premiere or something?
I just use my iPad. There's this thing called Pixaki, which is also where I do all of the sticker art. It's a pixel art app, and you can also do animations with it. So I just use my iPad. But yeah, so those do really well. I think because they're like really cute and funny, and like they allow people to reflect on the gospel, and it's relevant to what they hear in mass. Like, oh, I just went to mass and now I see this animation of this guy with a beam in his eye, and that's pretty funny.
Funny. Yeah.
I thought I had a lot of fun with that one. So the animations I think are really, really popular. Stuff that doesn't quite stick. I remember one time, and this is interesting because so much of social media is just like brain rot, and a lot of advertisements are just brain rot. And I was like trying to find, like, I was like, do I need to like delve into that type of content for it to be engaging? Just like, I don't know. I think of a lot of products where it's like people just like literally slamming their product on the table, or like all these really fast cuts, and all like food being smeared on their product. It's just like just utter chaos. And I was like, do I need to do that? But it didn't feel right. It didn't feel true to Saint Sprites. So I tried to do like a really popular social media ad tactic I've seen is ASMR. And then also AI voice for some reason. So I did this reel where I was showcasing these sticker sheets, these Sacred Heart sticker sheets, and I was unboxing it. I wasn't talking, I was unboxing it. I was like removing the stickers, and you can hear the stickers being removed. In the background, I had an AI voice saying like, unboxing these new Sacred Heart stickers. Wow, these are cool, you know. And so I tried that and I posted it, and someone told me to stop doing that.
Really?
Someone on Instagram commented and was like, don't do that anymore. Don't use the AI voice. It's not authentic. I was like, okay. I mean, it didn't get any other engagement other than that comment. So I was like, maybe it's not quite Saint Sprites, but I don't know. I would try it again and see how it goes.
Remember I don't know if you ever did this as a kid, where you make the little cardboard cutouts in a Kellogg's, that's Australia, cornflake cereal box, and you decorate it look like, you know, knights and ladies and stuff, and then use popsicle sticks to make characters come in and stuff. I don't know if that would work for you, but it'd be kind of funny. And then you could use AI voices to generate different voices for the characters, like talking through a gospel scene or something. And it deliberately looks hokey, but the actual stickers are on the ends of the popsicle sticks.
Yeah, that would be a good idea of like, because I've been doing a lot of animations, but it doesn't showcase the products, obviously. So that could be definitely a way to incorporate like a story aspect with the products themselves.
Yeah, like not Punch and Judy, where they're punching each other. I don't know what a modern version or metaphor for that is, but that's fun. I love the fact that you're testing and experimenting stuff. I'm chronically awful when it comes to social, so I'm just always interested to see what other people do. Now, okay, in my sort of defense, it's because I think I'm better at long form content than really creating short form. Other people are geniuses at the short form. I don't know that that's me. I do love it. I consume a lot of it, but so I love the fact that you're playing with things.
Thanks. Yeah, it really takes a whole other area of the brain to make short form content compared to long form content.
Yeah.
So
you said something also interesting about LinkedIn. So it's something that, I think we're both kind of taking more seriously right now. I know I'm sort of trying to get my act together to do that, but you said something cool, which was wanting to stay personal on your own LinkedIn profile. And I've just been learning this past week about the value of LinkedIn pages and how I'd never taken them seriously before. And I was curious if you'd heard anything about why they're valuable or how to use them. Before I share anything, I was curious if you'd heard anything.
Yeah, pages like a company page is what you're talking about. Yeah, I haven't delved into it too much. I only just made a page for Saint Sprites, but I haven't posted
Yeah.
anything to it
Yeah.
at all. So yeah,
I've
what
made
have
a
you heard
ton.
about it?
Well, so it's funny. Again, I'm still trying to figure out how to think about LinkedIn because I approach it from
Mm,
like a Facebook or Instagram, maybe, mindset. Um, I created a ton of company pages, largely because I wanted to build out my resume. And a lot of these things that I worked on were my own projects. And so I wanted to put them up there
yeah.
as battle scars or whatever. So there's a ton of company pages, but I never used them. Well, I learned this past week about the value of using a company page on LinkedIn allows you to do the thing that you said you wanted to do, which was to keep it personal and human on your personal LinkedIn profile. But if you have multiple projects going on, then um, how do you, it's like, how do you create an audience on LinkedIn around the fact that you have multiple distinct products or projects? So, like in my
Mm,
case, they're like superhero masks, right? So, like legend fiction is one mask I put on. And when I put that on, I talk in this way. I offer this kind of product. We're here to help these kind of people. But if I'm over in Saga brand, which is sort of for this show, it's a different audience. It's a different service. The brand is slightly different. Visually, it's different too. And I'm just looking at my LinkedIn profile, wondering, I don't even know how I'm going to, if I have 4 projects going on or something, how do I keep it together? And that's when I learned this past week about LinkedIn pages. And this might be a bad metaphor. So friends, if you have comments, you can drop in the chat and correct me here. But if you think about it like a Facebook fan page and you use your company page like that, it then becomes like a superhero mask that you use. And so you can post on there. And so let's say a Saint Sprites company page. If you treat it like a fan page, then you can go full on Saint Sprites when you post on there. And then you can reshare those, of course, to your personal profile. But that leaves you free to talk about anything else that you want and to build an
yeah.
audience around who you are. And then the
Hmm.
Saint Sprites page can build an audience around what it is. The same way you've got your
Yeah.
personal Instagram and then your Saint Sprites Instagram. So
Yeah.
I'm just curious if, maybe I'll check in with you in a couple of months if you go anywhere with that to see
Yeah.
what you figure out, because I'm trying to figure that out now.
Right. Yeah. No, have you, how has that worked for you so far? Like, have you
Absolutely,
done
I haven't
much
done anything
posting?
yet.
Okay.
Nothing yet.
Got
I
it.
just learned the theory, just sort of learned the mindset, and also I think LinkedIn has also recently just rolled out, maybe in the last couple of months or just recently, updates to how pages work. They've got little paid tiers that you can, pay to play to unlock a little more features now.
Yeah.
So they're taking it seriously, and I think they're also recognizing as people do more entrepreneurial stuff, they need to segment it or separate it because their project is not them, and their LinkedIn, personal profile, like your Instagram personal profile, it's intended for a different audience maybe than a project page. So anyhow, I just thought that was
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll have to. Yeah. I literally just made the page so that I could have because I have on my profile, owner of Saint Sprites, but I didn't like that the picture was just
Yep, it's
blank.
I couldn't stand it. Too much of a
So I was
designer.
like, okay, I just need to
Yeah,
make the page so I can
yeah,
at
yeah.
least have the logo on there. But that's literally all I've done so far. But you've intrigued me. Yeah, maybe I'll think about making some content for the Saint Sprites
Yep,
LinkedIn.
yep.
So,
And I think I've learned that if you have 100 followers, you can then live stream to your LinkedIn page. So I
oh,
don't have a
neat,
strategy for that yet, but that's just an interesting little metric to know. So,
cool.
okay, last question for you. Um, what is your cheat code to life, your superpower, the thing that you're leaning into that, you know,
uh,
that you do really well, and other people, like you think it's normal maybe, and other people look at you and go, my gosh, you're crazy. You're insane for doing this. Or how do you do that? How do you keep at it or something? What would you say
mm.
that is?
Yeah, I've been somebody who has created so many projects ever since I was a kid. Like the first thing that I made, the biggest project I remember making was in middle school. I made a whole EP like on an iPad, and that was all I had was an iPad, and not even a good mic, not any great quality instruments. I was like, this is just something I want to do, and these are the resources I have, so like, why not?
Hmm.
It was just like kind of this urge within me to create. And I don't know if that's something that has been built up within me or something that the Lord gave me. But I've always just had like this desire to execute whatever creative idea or project I had.
Awesome.
I think something that helps is witnessing other Catholic creatives who are doing the same thing. I mean, such as yourself, you've made so many amazing projects and you've executed them so well, or like connecting with people on LinkedIn and other artists who are doing it, like not just I have an idea and I hope it happens, but like I have an idea and I'm going to make it happen. Like just surrounding yourself around people who also have that mindset really helps me, because it's like, oh, if they can do it, like then I can do my wacky idea that I have. So I don't know. It's like, what's the cost? Like, you know, it doesn't hurt to just go ahead and try. And you never know what will happen. So yeah, I just love making things.
That's
and it can be as small projects to big projects. I just love having ideas and getting to create them and put them out into the world. So
I think that's fantastic. Good for you. Well, look, Teresa, thanks for coming on. It was fun to spend some time with you.
Thanks.
Friends, you can have a look down below in the description. You can check out Teresa's LinkedIn. You can connect with her if that's helpful to you, if she's someone that you'd like to follow. And talking about executing and talking about mindsets, I'm going to invite you to check out a video I recorded just, I don't know, maybe a couple of weeks before this one, all about mindset and some of the major things that I have been thinking through over the last couple of years, and things that I have found to be really helpful when it comes to just getting stuff done, executing, self-mastery, those kinds of things. Have a look at this video right here. Go ahead, give it a watch. Let me know what you think.